My family always said I was too sensitive, right up until the sheriff stepped onto their porch holding papers with my name on them. No yelling, no scene, just the sound of their certainty cracking. And the way they stared at me, like I'd rewritten the rules of our lives overnight. I didn't speak. I didn't comfort them. I simply watched the truth land. But none of that started on that porch. It started 1 week earlier at Denver International Airport, with 1 canceled ticket, 2 messages, and the moment I realized my parents didn't just dislike me. They enjoyed breaking me. Before we go on, hit like and tell me where you're listening from. And if family ever pushed you too far, share your story below. None of us go through this alone. People used to tell me I looked like someone raised in a warm home. The kind of face that grows around affection. I never corrected them. Explaining that my family valued control more than love felt pointless. Growing up, my older sister Marina was the trophy daughter. New clothes, new room decor. Her photos framed in every hallway. Me? I got hand-me-downs and be grateful speeches. Holiday chairs were for guests, not for me. I sat on stairs or floors. My father, Charles, didn't start the cruelty, but he always stood close enough to warm his hands by it. He laughed when the jokes were sharpest. He smirked when I cried. That was his way of choosing sides. 2 times before I turned 18 they kicked me out. Once because I talked back. Once because Marina didn't like sharing a bathroom with me. There is a special kind of coldness in Denver winters when you're standing outside with a trash bag full of clothes wondering where to sleep. So I learned early, if I wanted safety I had to build it myself. Years later I did. Quietly. I worked through college. Studied financial planning in a library that always smelled like burnt popcorn. Took every internship nobody wanted. I moved into a small condo with a view of the lake. Nothing fancy but mine. My son Noah had his own room. His own bed. His own peace. My parents didn't understand why I kept my distance. They thought it was rebellion. It was survival. So when I saved up for a short trip, a rare break, I didn't tell anyone. Not my mother, not my father, not Marina. But secrets don't survive long in the Ward family. The morning of my flight felt calm, rare calm. I kissed Noah goodbye. Promised I'd bring him something from the airport store and headed out. Denver airport buzzed like usual. Rolling suitcases, espresso machines, half-awake travelers. Nothing suggested that my entire life was about to tilt sideways. I gave the agent my ID. She scanned. Paused. Scanned again. That pause, the one where someone knows bad news is coming, made my skin tighten. Your ticket was canceled, she said gently. Refund issued an hour ago. To a card ending in 9911. My mother's card. I stepped aside, heart thudding. My phone buzzed. Mom, have fun walking home, loser. Another buzz. Marina. Broke girls shouldn't be taking trips. Take a bus like you should. It wasn't the words. It was the complete lack of hesitation. The pleasure behind it. I walked out into the icy air trying to breathe. Before I could order a rideshare, a white sedan pulled up. The driver leaned out. You okay? He asked. You look like someone dropped a piano on your day. I almost laughed. Close. A text. He nodded. Hop in. I'm off shift, but you look like you need to be anywhere but here. His name was Harvey Doyle. He listened. Really listened. And in that quiet car, something in me cracked open. I told him everything, the canceled ticket, the insults, the years of punishment disguised as parenting. When we parked near a quiet park, Harvey rested his hands on the wheel. People confuse cruelty with love. Doesn't make it true, he said. That sentence rearranged something inside me. I opened a hidden folder on my phone, one I'd kept for years. Options. Inside were documents, payments, investment notes, lease agreements, and the trust deed for the house my parents had lived in for nearly 2 years. A house they didn't know I owned. For the first time, the anger didn't drown me. It sharpened. When I got home, the lobby warmth felt like stepping into another world. My condo was peaceful, stable, mine. I opened my laptop. The folder waited. Rents they were late on. Warnings they ignored. Signed documents they never read. Then I clicked another file. Accidental recordings from the last time I visited them. Voices filled my kitchen. Evelyn. She thinks she's better than us. Cancel it. Teach her a lesson. Charles. She can take the bus. Drama queen. Their laughter followed. Light. Careless. That was the moment I stopped being their daughter. By nightfall, I drafted 3 eviction notices. Every line airtight. Every violation documented. 3 days later, I stood on their porch. I didn't knock. I walked in. They mocked me instantly. They laughed at my ruined trip. They didn't know the rules had already changed. I placed an envelope on the counter. "What's that?" Marina asked. "Your notice," I said. They laughed. Until they saw the trust deed. Until I pressed play on the recording. Until the room went silent. "It's filed," I said. "You have 3 days." My mother whispered. "You wouldn't." I looked at her. "You already did. Twice. Before I was even grown." And I walked out. 3 days later the sheriff arrived. 3 days pass faster when you're the one who set the clock. On the morning of the eviction, I parked a few houses down from my parents' place and just sat there, fingers wrapped around the steering wheel. The same street I used to ride my bike on. The same mailbox I used to check for college acceptance letters I never got congratulated for. Now there was a sheriff's cruiser parked at the curb. Deputy Langston stepped out, calm, efficient, like this was just another Thursday. For him, maybe it was. For my family, it was day one of reality. I walked up the sidewalk behind him. The lawn was overgrown. Trash cans still full from last week. Marina's SUV sat crooked in the driveway like always, like the world would adjust around her. Deputy Langston glanced at me. "You Ms. Ward?" "Yes," I said. "Owner. Landlord." The word still felt new in my mouth, at least in this context. I'd been a landlord on paper for years. Today I was one in person. He nodded once, then climbed the porch steps and knocked. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just firm. My mother, Evelyn, opened the door. Her hair was pinned up, but not in the perfect way she liked for parties. There were lines on her face I didn't remember. She took in the badge, the papers, then saw me behind him and her expression hardened. "What is this?" she demanded. "Ma'am," Deputy Langston said, polite. "I'm here to enforce a lawful eviction filed by your landlord, Lucia Ward. You've been served notice previously. Today is the enforcement date." She laughed. Came out sharp and fragile. "Our daughter is not our landlord. We raised her. This is a misunderstanding." Behind her my father appeared, Charles still in his old robe, jaw clenched. He looked at the sheriff, not at me. "We've lived here for years," he insisted. "You can't just throw us out because she's having some kind of emotional episode." Deputy Langston shifted his file, unbothered. "Sir, I've got a signed lease agreement here with Elmrook Trust listed as landlord. I've got a recorded transfer deed showing Ms. Ward as sole beneficiary of that trust. I've also got payment records showing 3 months unpaid, plus violation notices ignored. This isn't sudden. This is follow-through." He glanced back at me, then at them. "You've got a couple hours to collect your personal belongings. Movers are on their way for the larger items you own. Anything left after will be processed per state statute." My mother's face went from flushed to pale. Her eyes finally landed on me. "Lucia," she whispered, reaching for my arm. "You can't do this. We're your parents." I stepped back. I'd replayed this moment in my head 100 times, and in none of them did I let her touch me. "You already did this to me," I said quietly. "Twice. And you were proud of it." Behind her I heard drawers opening, cabinets slamming. Marina's voice carried from upstairs, shrill and furious. "Tell him he can't. Mom. Dad. Do something." There it was. The Ward family anthem. "Someone else fix it. Someone else fix the mess we made." "I'm not here to fight with you," I said. "I'm here to end something." My father finally looked at me, really looked. There was no softness in it, only calculation. "You're overreacting. Your mother made a joke. We canceled 1 ticket. You'll throw your whole family away over that." I pulled my phone from my coat pocket and opened the folder labeled evidence. On the screen were screenshots of their texts, the airline reversal, their voices transcribed into neat lines of contempt. "It wasn't 1 ticket," I said. "It was 30 years. You just finally put it in writing." I held up my phone. "And you didn't just cancel a flight. You mocked me for being stranded. You enjoyed it. That's not a joke. That's a confession." Marina thundered down the stairs, hair messy, eyeliner smudged. She spotted the sheriff, froze, then whirled on me. "You are insane," she hissed. "You can't actually let them do this. Where are we supposed to go?" I shrugged slightly. "The same question I had at 17 with a trash bag on your driveway. You didn't care then." She scoffed. "That was different. You were being dramatic." "Really?" I asked. I opened another file and tapped play. My parents' kitchen filled again with their own voices, except this time it was on speaker in front of a sheriff. "Evelyn, cancel it. Teach her a lesson. Charles, she can take the bus. She always acts like she's struggling. Maybe she should." Their laughter rang out. Even Marina flinched hearing it from the outside. Deputy Langston didn't react, but I noticed him make a small note on his clipboard. Not for legal reasons. Human ones. My mother's composure finally cracked. Tears spilled, but they were the hard kind, born of fear, not remorse. "Lucia, we didn't mean any of that. You know how people talk when they're upset." I shook my head. "You weren't upset. You were entertained." My father stepped closer, voice low and menacing. "You think anyone will see you as the good guy in this? You're evicting your own parents. Your sister. Your family." I met his eyes steady. "My son is my family. Noah. The one you told to sit on the floor last Christmas because he wasn't a real cousin compared to Marina's kids." Marina rolled her eyes but couldn't meet my gaze. "Oh my God, are you still on about that? It was just a seat." "No," I said. "It was a message. And I heard it loud and clear." Outside, a moving truck pulled up. The sound of the engine cut through the tension. Two movers stepped out, clipped on gloves and walked toward the house, waiting for Deputy Langston's signal. He spoke gently now. "Ma'am, sir, I suggest you focus on what you want to take. We can sort feelings later. Stuff first." For the next hour, the house I'd once tiptoed through became a battlefield of cardboard and denial. My mother tried to control the movers, directing them like staff at one of her holiday parties. "Careful with that. That's my china set." My father argued about what belonged to who, insisting certain items were family heirlooms that legally had to stay, ignoring the fact that he'd sold most of the real heirlooms years ago to cover business mistakes. At one point, Marina stormed past me with an armful of clothes, speaking into her phone. "No, I'm serious, Matt. She actually evicted us. With a sheriff. With paperwork. I had to use my own savings for the last rent and she says it was late." Her voice faded down the sidewalk. I stayed mostly quiet. I answered a few legal questions from Deputy Langston, clarified what fixtures stayed, confirmed what the lease said about abandoned property. Every time my parents tried to twist the narrative, I let the documents speak. Bank statements, payment history, screenshots, recordings. Their power had always been emotional. Mine, it turned out, was written. When the last box left the threshold, my mother turned to me one more time. She looked smaller without the house behind her. "We're still your parents," she said. It came out half plea, half accusation. I nodded once. "And I was still your daughter when you stranded me at an airport and called me a loser." She looked away, not at me but at the house. The place she thought she'd grow old in for free. I handed Deputy Langston a sealed envelope. "Could you place this inside in the front hallway before you lock up? It's for the next time I walk in here. I don't want their words to be the last thing in these walls." He glanced at me, then at them, and nodded. "Of course." Inside the envelope was a single photo. Me and Noah on the balcony of our condo, wind in our hair, both of us laughing at something the camera didn't catch. On the back, I'd written one sentence. "This is the family I choose." When it was done, Charles and Evelyn stood on the walkway with a few suitcases and boxes they'd managed to grab. No house behind them. No automatic safety net. Just like me at 17. The difference was I'd had no one. They had each other. And a hotel credit card. As I turned to leave, my father called after me, his voice hoarse. "You'll regret this." I paused, looking over my shoulder. "I regret every time I taught you there were no consequences," I said. "I'm just correcting the record." I drove back to my condo in silence. The lake outside my window glowed with the last light of the day, calm and wide, like it didn't owe anyone an explanation. When I walked in, Noah ran to the door, bare feet slapping the floor, arms open. You're home, he grinned. I'm home, I said, crouching to hug him. He smelled like crayons and cereal. Safety. A life I built from the ashes of the one they kept trying to burn. That night after he fell asleep, I sat at my small kitchen table, the same spot where I'd opened that folder labeled options. Only now I opened something else, my recording app. I told this story the way I'm telling it to you now. Not to get revenge views, but to leave a record. A record that says, if someone weaponizes family to break you, you're not cruel for finally saying no. You're not evil for enforcing boundaries using the same systems they used to hurt you. You're just done being the only one paying the price. If you've ever had to choose your own peace over the people who were supposed to protect it, I see you. Tell me your story in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss the next time someone learns that too sensitive was just another word for finally paying attention.